Hello and welcome to the reading from Agasthiyar Vazhipaadu.
2025.
Once again, today, March 29th, 2025, happens to be a very significant day. As we have understood from Vazhipaadu, that we have been reading and understanding all these months, everything that happens externally influences us, every one of us, in one way or the other. Planetary positions, the waxing and waning of the moon, the energy that is around us in the environment and in things, in people, in animate and inanimate things are constantly interacting, causing changes based on our own energy at that time. In fact, March 2025 has been very significant, and you have already, probably all of you have heard about the planetary conjunctions and the Mahakumbha Mela, which happens once in 144 years, happens because of these conjunctions. A very special time in this particular created world. So today, especially March 29th, 6 planets align in the sign of Pisces according to astrology. I don't know much about it, but I do know that everything has an effect on us. So in addition to that, it's partial solar eclipse and it is a new moon, or Amavasya as we call it in India. All these bring together a tremendous changes in energy. How these powerful forces affect us depends on our own energy, our receiving station. So as long as we can remember that, if we can keep ourselves positive, if we can align ourselves to divine energy, then these can be very, very positive and significant changes in our life. And for all of us who have been drawn to Agasthiyar Vazhipaadu, this is a very special day because we can align even more closely with his great divine energy. So in view of that, let us begin today with the powerful invocation to Sage Agastya, composed by Gajraj Swamigal. I will request Brother Praveen Rajaram to go ahead and read it first in Tamil and then chant it in English. Thank you, Praveen.
Thank you, sister. அகமாய் எழுத்துலேல் ஆகிய முதல்வனை உகரமாய் உயிர்களில் உயர்ந்த முடிவனை மகரமாம் பிறப்பேனும் மாயையாய் நீக்கி அருள் பகர்ந்த அகத்தியன் பாதம் நித்தம் போற்றுவோம். In English, the one is manifest as the foremost in the letter A. The sage, who is the highest among the living beings, manifested in the letter U, dispelling the illusion of life as the letter Ma. That sacred feet of Agasthya. Thank you, sister.
Thank you, brother. Beautiful. Continue. Go ahead. You want to read that once more? Mm-hmm.
Let me read that once more.
Yes.
I will read the one in English. The one is manifest as the foremost in the letter R. The sage, who is the highest among the living beings, manifested in the letter U, dispelling the illusion of life as the letter Ma. That sacred feet of Agasthya, let us touch every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So let us touch that sacred feet of Agasthya every day. And that is what it is. Here, Gajraj Swamigal is talking about how Agasthya is manifest in the very source of creation. He is the highest among all living created things. And we will learn about that as we read more about him, that he has shared in Agasthiyar Vazhipaadu. And he has come here to dispel the illusion of life. And here we are talking about the sacred syllables Om, A, U, and Ma. So this 4-letter verse contains everything connected with creation and Appa Agasthyar's role in creation. So let us touch his sacred feet on this great day and continue to hold on to his feet and his divine vibration that guarantees us that his promise that we will get what we want if we but turn to him. And that doesn't mean that you cannot turn to your own divine beings that you are connected to. Please do so. This is only for those of us who are connected to Appa. Anyway, we'll continue. Today also, Gayatri Ma, she's a very elevated soul in a group, and she shared a Garuda mantra, which I felt is very powerful, especially for protection today. So I'm going to ask Sister Sumati to go ahead and chant that. Thank you, Sister Sumati.
Thank you. Om Shri Karunyaya Garudaya Vedarupaya Vinata Putraya Vishnu Bhakti Priyaya Amrita Kalashahastaya Bahupparakramaya Pakshirajaya Sarva Vakra Nashanaya Sarva Dosha Sarpa Dosha Visha Sarpa Vinashanaya Swaha.
Thank you very much. In that particular sentence or that particular verse, all kinds of protection is inherent. So let us chant that today and continue with reading the sacred discourses of Agasthiyar Vazhipaadu. Today's topic is miracle. What is a miracle? It's very self-explanatory. So we will try to hear it from Appa's words. And only if there's anything that we can add, then we will add it. So Sister Sumati, will you please continue?
Yeah. What is a miracle? Sage Agastya. Dear daughter, you have asked a question that is of no real value for spiritual upliftment. However, it is important to elucidate the difference between the real and the unreal. Miracle is something that occurs or is manifested seemingly out of nothing. It baffles the beholder. Faith and doubt, these are the reactions that normally arise when one sees a miracle. In the olden days, the instances of occurrences of miracles were frequent. People accepted them without a question. What is the difference between then and now? In the ancient days, nobody questioned miracles. They had faith. It is also true that in modern times, people do not directly accept such phenomena. Why is this? Because it is not a common occurrence. There are many who create fake miracles. Modern day science tends to disregard miracles because they have not been subjected to scientific methods of investigation.
Now,
Anurag.
I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about this.
Yeah.
So what Appa is saying is miracles, from what he's saying, is true. There are true miracles. But however, what is happening in today's world is that because of our lack of faith, because of lack of devotion, because of the lack of understanding of the higher truths, there is a veil that covers us. So even though something great like Agasthiyar Vazhipaadu is presented to the world, people dismiss it. Because why? Because they are saying, how can somebody who's an ordinary man channel Agasthiyar or bring his messages and give to us? Yet, those of us who have the faith, who have read the Vazhipaadu, who have taken the time to read and see for yourselves what it means, have felt Appa Agasthyar's presence, have felt him, constantly reassuring, guiding you through these words from Vazhipaadu. In the same way, Appa Agastya talks about this in Vazhipaadu. Science, he says, is a mirage because we are living in an illusion and science is of the created world. It cannot transcend and understand what is beyond the created world, what is beyond the senses and tangible things. That is why when even Albert Einstein said, where science ends, spirituality begins. And he was the greatest scientist. And only those scientists who are working on quantum physics have slowly begun to open their eyes to understand and reaffirm. And I'm saying the word reaffirm because these things are already proven or stated by the great rishis of India, who did not even have any scientific instruments or any kind of resources, but direct connections with divine consciousness. So Appa is now talking about what is the difference between the olden days and the world of today, and why there is a lot of lack of faith in people. Go ahead, sister.
So Anuradha asked the question, how do miracles take place? What are the distinct types of miracles? First is manifestation of materials. Sage Agastya says, the most common miracle is manifestation of materials. You have seen many who produce vermilion or sacred ash seemingly out of nowhere. You do not know where these materials came from. They also produce materials like rings, ornaments, and sacred objects. The second type of miracle is curing of incurable diseases. This is again an act of miracle. In the lower plane, reading the minds of another is also considered a miracle. You have seen people inflict deep wounds in religious fervor. These are also miracles. Walking on fire, playing with fire is another kind of miracle. Then there are great saints that appear to devotees long after they have passed from the earthly plane. That is also a miracle. There are endless types of miracles. In your own home and family, your mother was cured of an incurable disease, which was a miracle. In Chennai, your father was guided to a temple by a stranger, which was a miracle. Is it not a miracle that the wooden idol was found lying in front of your house and you yourself took it to your parents? Your family has witnessed many such things that you have not been able to understand were actually miracles. Another instance was when the vermilion of Kollur Mukambika was found in the offering kept for gods in the altar at your home. Daughter, when you asked this question, you had only one thing that you considered a miracle, which belongs to the category of manifestations. But now you see, there are several others that can also be considered as miracles in the sense they cannot be ordinarily performed.
So here I think a little bit of explanation is needed. So, let's go back to what Appa was saying. There are many who create fake miracles, and that is the reality of today's world. If you just look at the social media for a while, you start beginning to doubt even the news, because there is so much of fake news going on. There's so much of people creating fake materials now. So remember, this is a time of great planetary changes, which also means it can bring about a lot of confusion. And how can we protect ourselves from that? We can only protect ourselves from that if we keep our energy pure. So any kind of hatred, anger, any of these negative elements, remove it from your mind. It's not going to help you in your progress. It's going to hinder you. It's going to bring you deeper into the world of Maya or illusion. So at this time, you have an opportunity. You can either take the road towards more illusion by continuing to hold on to questions and doubts and anger about people, or you can take the highway path towards the divine vibrations. And the planets will help you move. They're aligned to help you move forward quickly in either direction. So which one will you choose? If you are worried about somebody who has been bad to you in the past and you keep holding on to that, you know what you're creating? You are creating a cord between yourself and that other person. And that cord will keep you, bring you back over and over again until you're able to break that cord. In the same way, if you have any kind of bond or attachment towards anybody, if it is conditional, if it is very personal and individual, it's going to bring that person back again and again. And for that reason, you'll keep coming back. For that reason, your vibration will continue to be held on to this world of illusion. Now is your chance to think, okay, so yes, somebody did something wrong to me. What do I do now? Let it go. If somebody did wrong to you, it's because of something you put into motion that brought that person into your life. Through that person, you're experiencing the results of your own karma. If you can understand that, then he'll let go of that, break that cord, break all the chains now. Now, again, here Appa is talking about miracles. And yes, we have a lot of fake miracles, but it's also true there are a lot of great miracles that are happening day to day. And because of the unfortunate influence of disbelief that all of us face, many people don't even share these things. But however, I am so happy to hear all these different conversations that take place in a WhatsApp group where people share how every day they're being touched by Agasthiyar, by Vazhipaadu, how they're learning, how they're guiding, how confirmations are being given. So we must have faith, because faith and devotion have a higher vibration. Your feelings have a higher vibration. Your mind takes you to the wrong direction. Remember that always. Now here Appa is talking about a manifestation of rings, ornaments, sacred objects. This reminds me of a beautiful example that Yogananda gives of a saint who could produce different kinds of fragrances. So people would go sit for hours waiting to get a fragrance of a particular flower. Then Yogananda said, but God has already created all those flowers, which are already giving out the fragrance. Why do you need that? When you could just forget about all these smaller type of miracles or manifestations and get the highest miracle, which is connecting to your own divinity. That is the highest miracle. Now, let us continue. He says, then there is the miracle of curing incurable diseases. Yes, it happens. It happened in our life. My mother had a problem with her uterus. The doctor had scheduled a surgery to remove her uterus. But she read somewhere in the newspaper or somebody told her to go to the Karumariamman temple in Chennai, and she did. And when they came back that night, my father, Gajraj Swamigal, asked her to bring some water, sacred water in the puja room, and he sprinkled it and he said, go, you're cured. And at that moment, mother knew that it was the divine working through him. And the next day when they went to the doctor was surprised because there was no more need for surgery. Whatever was the problem had rectified. In the same way, I had some medical, something that had caused some lumps in my particular part of my body. I was taken to the Cancer Institute, met the oncologist, and the oncologist said, yes, you have cancer. But within 1 week, Gajraj Swamigal and his friends, who were all pranic healers, they prayed for me. And there were a lot of people, including Christians, who went and lit candles for me. 1 week later, there was not a single lump. So this miracle can happen in your life. But what is this miracle? It is just being aligned to divine energy. Appa Agastya says in Vazhipaadu, the body has the ability to heal itself. It is inherent in the body, but we have forgotten that ability. Even I have forgotten that ability because despite all these miracles, even today I pop some pills if I'm feeling, some kind of a infection or fever or something. But that is what I am trying to say. Divinity is within us, and we are so covered by Maya. We have become so conditioned to what the external world is telling us, what science is telling us. We are forgetting that a lot of miracles can happen because of us, through us, in us. And then again, Appa talks about how there are great devotees who go, and especially devotees of Murugar, who actually inflict wounds on themselves, put spears between their cheeks. How do they do that? It is the faith that allows them to walk on fire, do those things. So if all these can be done because of faith, then faith can also cure. But then, of course, we have the problem here in the modern world where there are a lot of faith healers who are fake, and they do it to gain money. So wherever there is money being exchanged, know that that is not true. A true healer never accepts any money. Anyway, we'll continue with this. And then, yes, Gajraj Swamigal had 2 instances where somebody came and tapped his shoulder and said, go somewhere, and that led to some great miracles. So the very first time that happened was when he was in Chennai with my mother for that, because she had the uterus problem. and somebody tapped his shoulder and said, this is a temple called Karmariamman Temple in Thiruverkadu in Chennai. And somebody tapped his shoulder and said, there is an older temple nearby. So I remember as a child walking through some fields, I don't know how it is now, to this older temple. And that was the first time when the divine energy descended into Gajraj Swamigal, and he shook. And at that time, I was actually ashamed. I was like, oh my God, why is dad doing this? But today I understand, because I have felt the divine energy descend, and it is not God descending into you. It is just divine vibration. And that is so strong that it does affect your body. It does make you move. And it is true. God just doesn't come and descend on anybody, but the energy flows through us. And when that happens, you can feel that energy. And usually you feel the energy coming from the tips of your hands, and you can feel the energy just coursing through your whole body. So this is something I have felt, and I am telling you, and not because I think it's special, but I haven't felt again, but this does happen. Anyway, that is also considered a miracle. Now, the finding of the wooden idol of Agasthiyar when I was a little child in Markara, Kurg in southern India, Appa says is also a miracle. That is true, because it was a place where he trained 8 months a year. And if you leave a small piece of wood outside, it's going to disintegrate. It's going to get ruined in the rain. But that day, as I was playing, on the stairs was this small 2-inch idol of Appa Agastya that I picked up after my grandmother pointed it out. And since that day, he has been with us, reminding us why he is there. And that is how 30 years later, he gave Vazhipaadu to Gajraj Swamigal. All these details are in the book Agastya's Disciple, First-Hand Chronicles of an Extraordinary Life, available on Amazon. But I do hope that one day I should be able to create a whole comprehensive document in English and share it for free, which is what I'm working towards. Now, let us continue with the chapter Miracles, Sister Sumati.
So next is, how do miracles happen? These are big secrets. I wonder whether you need to know it. These are supposed to be divine secrets. Pure thought, focused like a laser, can produce a miracle if you acquire the ability or siddhi, that is attainment of a certain power, to perform it. Siddhis can be obtained by performing certain rituals. These are exceedingly difficult types of practices. This includes chanting a particular type of mantra, evoking a particular type of spirit to help that person. In a moderate way, Hatha Yoga, or yoga of force, produces siddhis. Miracles can be performed through mantra and yantra. For performing higher types of miracles, grace of higher entities like demigods is necessary. Munis can help their disciples, but not their gurus. Gurus come into the picture only when they want to help a disciple in a situation that needs their attention. Nowadays, higher kinds of miracles, such as sudden appearance and disappearance, bringing a dead person to life, and such things are rare.
Okay, so we will talk about this a little bit, Sister Sumati.
Yeah.
So Appa is actually giving us a clue here. What is he saying? He's saying, pure thought, focused like a laser, can produce a miracle if you acquire the ability to perform it. Now, how many of us are able to focus on anything like that? Very rarely. Because, there is so much bombardment of outside influences in our life that we are not able to really focus on anything. That is why meditation helps. Meditation is not in itself something that is going to give you some results. It is the first 5 steps of meditation that lead you to the level where you can begin to focus. So meditation is a whole set of practices like the Ashtanga, Yoga Siddhis that Patanjali talks about, how to sit, how to behave, how to breathe, all those things. But the final stage of actual meditation is when you're able to focus your thought like a laser. And that is why many of us who have reached that stage start seeing things, start understanding our astral, flights or during day, or that come as dreams, or as we remember as dreams, all these things. So the clue here is thought focus like a laser. How is it that many scientists, suddenly say, oh, they have been working on something, and remember the story about Eureka, and he comes out of his bathtub. And that is how, when somebody is focusing on some knowledge that is inherent in the world, then he finally connects to that knowledge. And as Appa said in Vazhipaadu, knowledge is all around us. All the knowledge that is to be known is already there. So all we are doing is connecting to that knowledge when we focus our vibrations or thoughts, because thoughts, as we have already talked in previous sessions, have power because they are energy. So that energy is what Appa is talking about. So if people can manifest miracles, how about we manifest divine miracles by connecting our thought towards the sole purpose of knowing our own divinity and finally attaining that which every soul seeks, that is to go back into that absolute that we all come from, for the microcosm to merge with the macrocosm. Then he's also talking about another thing. He's talking about miracles can be performed by mantra and yantra. So remember that. Last few weeks when we were talking about black magic, we talked about how people can use certain things and focus their thoughts on those things, and harm others. In the same way, we can do good things. That is why in the olden days, people would get amulets that were blessed and that would disappear, that Yogananda has talked about in his autobiography of a yogi. Things like that happened. Something that is blessed. For example, in my possession right now are 3 very powerful Rudrakshas. One was sent from Dattatreya, another was from a Siddha, and another one, I don't know the background because I hadn't written it down. And those 3 together, Appa said one day, becomes the power of the Trinity. And when the Rudraksha from the Siddha was given to Gajrat Swamigal, he immediately put it on his head and he went into a complete deep meditation. His whole body was glowing that day. And that powerful Rudraksha is with me. And one day when Brother Venkatesh Kiran, who is actually the spiritual son of Gajrat Swamigal, told me, don't just keep it in the box, please hang it over something. And as he was chanting, I was taking these Rudrakshas from the box. One of the Rudrakshas, the one that was from Dattatreya, it just went straight to the phone from where his voice was coming. It was drawn to that. And that has happened too. Even when Gajrat Swamigal was alive and when he held that Rudraksha, it moved towards Venkatesh Kiran. So there is a power in that Rudraksha, but I have just put it now in a special case and it awaits for the one who's meant to get it. So here we are seeing some kind of miracle there. There is some kind of power in these things. So power can be transferred not only through thoughts, but from manifested materials. And then Appa says another important thing, Munis can help their disciples, but not their gurus. There is an important teaching here. Gurus also, he says, cannot give disciples weapons. Like he gives an example of Arjuna, who needed weapons to fight the war in Mahabharata. But he had to get the weapons not from his gurus, but from gods. So each of the higher divine beings have a role to play. And one of the roles is for gods and munis, they can give certain things to disciples, but gurus cannot. He says, Guru only comes into the picture when a disciple is in a situation that needs their attention. So Babaji came to Yukteswar, came to Yogananda, and he told them, okay, you have to go here. You have to do this. That is the direction. Guru can guide you, but God takes you higher. There is a level to where a guru can take you, but after that, God takes over. There are certain things a guru can give, but not everything. So these are all things that are inherent in Vazhipaadu that Appa is telling us very, very simply through a simple chapter called Miracle. So at this point, we are almost out of time. So we're going to stop at this. And thank you, Sister Sumati, for doing this. And we will continue the chapter on miracles next week.